We are Free Love Uganda.
As recently as last month, 16 LGBT activists were arrested on the suspicion of gay sex, and they could face life in prison. What's worse, though, is the resurgence in talks over the death penalty for people convicted of homosexuality. Not only is this a violation of human rights, but like those around the world, Ugandans deserve the freedom to love whoever they please. These ideas are archaic and discriminatory.
Rooted in British colonialism and the Christian faith, the hatred toward homosexuality is deeply ingrained in Ugandan culture. It may seem hard or impossible to change, but we do not believe that. After all, our own country was founded off of the same British and Christian colonialism, and many Americans love whomever they wish freely. Further, since 2015, gay marriage has been legal in the United States. We are familiar with the tumultuous road many LGBT American activists have traveled, and we recognize their success from a common goal and rigid plans. With Uganda, we will employ the same strategy, have solid goals as well as a specific and attainable plan.
Our three main goals in Uganda are to prevent the reenactment of the Uganda Anti-Homosexuality Act, decrease violence towards LGBTQ+ individuals, and increase LGBTQ+ representation in Ugandan media and politics. We intend to complete all of these goals within a 5-year timeline.
Let us begin with our first goal. We will look to block the reenactment of the Ugandan Anti-Homosexuality Act according to Amnesty USA. This bill proposes a lifetime jail sentence or death penalty for homosexual activity. Further, it permits jail for non-LGBT allies. While it was ruled unconstitutional by the Ugandan Supreme Court in 2014, persecution is rising in Uganda. We will approach this issue by attempting to lobby lawmakers and politicians and explain to them that this law is archaic and dangerous. Not only will we ourselves petition these lawmakers, but we will encourage Ugandan allies to do so as well. This will put Ugandan citizens at the front of this movement.
One risk to this plan would be the Ugandan allies having to publicly declare their support for the LGBTQ community. This will earn them social persecution, and should the law be enacted, could add political persecution. However, we aim to show LGBT allies strength in numbers, gain their support, and ultimately stand together. We look to partner with Sexual Minorities Uganda, or SMUG, in our initiative. They have been in Uganda since 2004 and have been working to safeguard the LGBT community in its various forms, particularly transgender Ugandans. SMUG can help us better understand the current nature of the issue, as well as be more receptive to the Ugandan LGBT and their culture.
We will assess our progress through the number of legislators that we can successfully sway in our favor. With 426 total seats in the Uganda Parliament, we looked to convert between 5 to 10 legislators per year to eventually have between 25 to 50 legislators that do not support the reenactment of the Uganda Anti-Homosexuality Act after 5 years of intervention.
Our next aim is to decrease violence against the LGBT community in Uganda. Leading up to the 16 arrest, homophobia was normal, but the recent arrest only encouraged homophobic Ugandans to get violent. Violence has multiplied in the country, and Uganda has become a danger zone for all LGBT members. We look to send in a peacekeeping squadron to help guard the targeted citizens and ultimately help quell violence in the country. We will accomplish this by partnering with the United Nations, from whom we will request some of their peacekeepers. We will use this support to also train local Ugandans to eventually take over this job.
One risk of this plan would be performing modern-day colonialism. To be clear, we do not aim to reconstruct the Ugandan society to our Western standards. We do aim, however, to safeguard human rights and empower Ugandans to do the same. Therefore, we will solely utilize the United Nations peacekeeping forces to stop violence in the LGBTQ+ community and to train Ugandans in eventually fighting this battle themselves. Our ultimate goal is to foster a Ugandan-led and enforced peace. Once the UN has met both of our objectives, they will exit Uganda.
We will measure our success through examining the numbers of attacks against the LGBT community. Should this number decrease, then our intervention will be viewed as successful. Furthermore, we will measure success with a decrease in the number of people that attempt to attack LGBT members. We look to see about a 5 to 10% decrease from the original number of attacks each year, starting with this year. So in 5 years, we hope to have witnessed a 25 to 50% decrease in attacks against the LGBT community from today.
Our final objective will be to increase LGBT representation in Ugandan politics and media. Increasing representation has a variety of positive effects, the main being very basic: recognition. Putting an LGBT person in charge of something traditionally dominated by heterosexuals, such as politics, sports, and entertainment, not only shows respect for their sexuality, but shows that it is not a barrier in them achieving their dreams. Take this past year's Women's World Cup, Megan Rapinoe. Megan Rapinoe was unapologetic in her homosexuality while leading the USA to the final match, where she and the USA would be crowned champion. Rapinoe's success on the world stage proves that this society can be accepting of LGBT members and that our society is enhanced through LGBT members. We believe Ugandan LGBT citizens should be able to feel this inclusivity and happiness too.
One risk of this goal is the verbal aggression and physical violence rising LGBT figures will face in Uganda. We will be hard to ensure the safety and longevity of an LGBT person in the public eye without first blocking the Anti-Homosexuality Act and decreasing violence against the LGBT community. Therefore, we risk not fulfilling this goal in our time frame of 5 years or at all, because this objective is predicated on the completion of the other two.
To help mitigate this objective's risks, we will partner with Kuchu Times, an African news outlet. Having been founded in Uganda specifically from this crisis, Kuchu Times looks to decrease marginalization of LGBT people across Africa. By partnering with Kuchu Times, we will look to uplift LGBT Ugandans into the media, which will give them visibility, recognition, and acceptance. Since this goal will be difficult to achieve without our aforementioned goals, we will provide funds to Kuchu Times for the entirety of our 5 years of planned intervention and will not look to see an increase in readership or representation until the 4th year. We will judge our success by increased readership to Kuchu Times and/or an LGBT Ugandan working a high social or political position.
Ultimately, we believe that all people, regardless of sexual orientation, deserve the freedom to advance in their country. We at Free Love Uganda look to improve the lives of those in the LGBTQ+ community in Uganda, and through our 5-year initiative, we plan to prevent the reenactment of the Uganda Anti-Homosexuality Act, decrease violence towards LGBTQ+ individuals, and increase LGBTQ+ representation in Ugandan media and politics. Thank you for supporting our initiative.